Hello, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Arrowhead Kingdom CHIEFScast, live from the MKE, where we will be talking Chiefs and all things NFL. I am Chris.
And I'm Josh, and today we will be talking the NFL schedule. And a big reminder that all Chiefs fans are invited to join us for game day. Visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn more about your group and find your local chapter. Please make sure to like, share all these videos, and subscribe to our channel.
Today we'll be talking about your Kansas City Chiefs with our guest, Eric Hill, who is nice enough to join us for round one of the draft, and he decided to come on with us again. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, welcome from Jacksonville. And we are, of course, presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth, lighting, and coordination services. Please visit them at completewedo.com. All right, before we get into the schedule, I think it is in order to give a big welcome to the kingdom to one Mike Hughes, who came over in a trade from the Vikings. So Brett Veach went and dressed cornerback. Apparently, we aren't going to re-sign Rashad Breeland, or maybe we are still. But picking up the Vikings 2018 first-round pick, Mike Hughes. So, Eric, our guest, what were your thoughts on that one?
I think it's going to be a huge improvement to our secondary and the cornerbacks, and getting Tyrann Mathieu a little bit of help that I think he needs. It's going to be really, really good for us, I think. I do.
Good stuff. Chris, what was your reaction? Was this better than the Orlando Brown trade? Were you happier about this one?
I'm not unhappy about the Orlando Brown trade. Please read my blog. I don't know. It feels a lot like the DeAndre Baker deal. I think it's a pretty low risk. I think they only traded a couple of late round picks in 2022, and
we traded away our sixth. We brought back the player and the Vikings seventh.
Yeah, so. And I mean, again, it's not a lot of capital for potentially a high ceiling player. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Rashad Breeland is off the table. I mean, this doesn't mean that we still couldn't go out and sign him or Richard Sherman or anybody else.
Exactly. Brian, what were your thoughts besides who is Mike Hughes?
No, I'm looking it up right now. You know, I'm the guy who studies for the test 5 minutes before the test happens. And
Brian, we're taking the test right now.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'm cheating now. Okay, so I'm watching. Okay, I'm reading it up. So he had 4 games in 2020, neck injury, injured reserve. But they've said that 2019, 2020 injuries were unrelated. Played 4 games. Reminds me of that scene from is it Necessary Roughness or Unnecessary Roughness with Scott Bakula?
Yeah, necessary. It's necessary.
Texas State Armadillos.
Yeah.
And what was it like? Gene Hackman, or I forget not Gene Hackman. It was the other guy who talks growly. I forget. I don't know his name.
Was it Dennis Hopper?
I don't think it's Dennis Hopper. No, I think I have to look it up.
I can't remember who the head coach.
All right, go into IMDb right now. Keep going.
Okay, but Scott Bakula, Scott Bakula is all 32 years old, and he's like, I haven't touched a football in 18 years. And he goes, good, your arm's rested. And so when I look at, 4 games, 2020 injury, I'm like, okay, he's rested. And they say he's fully healthy. So, all right, let's see what happens. I'm looking excited. And first round draft pick, obviously that is nothing to nothing to thumb your nose at. So looking good. Let's see what happens. If you got the name for that person.
We're working on it now.
I think it was 2 coaches. Now I remember, one offensive guy and one defensive guy. I just can't remember the actors' names though.
So Robert Loggia is who you're thinking of, Coach Wally Rigg, who was also in the movie Big as the head of the toy company that hires Tom Hanks as character Josh Baskin to come in and play with all the toys and tell him what I think. He's the vice president of product development or something. That was a movie that I really
Can we just make it a bug? You're a genius.
Yes.
Okay, he's a genius.
Yes. Everybody makes something that turns into something, and this turns into a building. I mean, what kid would want to play with that? They're pulling out marketing reports and stuff. The thing that I think is funny is you get into a business world, and it's more like that than you think.
I remember watching
not inaccurate.
When I was growing up in the 90s, when I was growing up, and I was like the formative years when learning about what a corporate office is supposed to look like. You're watching movies from the 80s, and I was so scared of going to work because everyone's yelling at each other. I have no idea where they come up with these ideas. And you grow up, you're like, oh yeah, they're just making it up as we go along. I'm like, yeah, we're totally just making it up as we go.
Yeah, my phrase that I always have in the office is we're just building the plane while we fly it. That's it. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And if you really want to get out of some sort of product line or something, you fly the plane into the mountains. So anyway, we can get into the schedule now. So we have an 18-week schedule, which is the new development. We now have a 17-game regular season. Our bye week is the 12th week, which is essentially Thanksgiving week. And looks like we have the one extra home game. So when we picked up our 17th game, that was a home game against the Packers. That's conveniently right smack dab in the middle of the schedule in week 9. But what we're going to do is we're going to go around the room and we're going to go week by week with every single game on the schedule. We're going to say what we're looking forward to for this game or what we're looking for. And we're going to give our prediction as a win or loss. We're not doing ties, so don't even bring it up, Brian. I don't want to see anything like that. If we were voting in like a fraternity meeting, you don't get to abstain. I guess I'm probably thinking more of other people that we dealt with, but I just
that's a throwback.
Yeah, like Ryan Liker, we'll call him out. He would abstain from everything. But anyway, the karma contrarian himself. All right, so we're gonna go through and we're gonna go win or loss, and then we'll all have a record at the end that we can recap. And throughout this, we're each going to pick if we could, money's no object, because that's definitely going to come into the play, especially this next year. Pick one home game at Arrowhead and one away game that you would most like to go to, and say why on that, and then we'll wrap everything up. So let's get into week 1. We start with all the fanfare. The game that was released 18 hours before the NFL had this whole big scheduled production to release everything, and then they released half the schedule before it was done. But the fanfare came out. We are hosting the Browns once again week 1, according to our almost Andy Reid, who's a friend of the show and the Arrowhead Kingdom. His TikTok video is loaded with Browns making excuses because the team doesn't lose in September. So, Eric, what are your thoughts on that game?
Coming out of that, I've got 3 things: pros, middle of the road stuff, and then cons. My pro is we're coming out of that playoff game last year. Mm-hmm. We should know their offense and know their defense. We've got good tape on them. It should have been playing at their best and seeing what they've got. The middle of the road is I want to see that new offensive line. I want to see how it's gelling, how it's working. How are they going to work together in protecting? I want to see how much time Mahomes has. Does he have an extra 5 seconds in the pocket? Can he run a little bit? The cons on this is the Browns, same thing like us. They know our offense. They know our defense. They got the best of what we've got and have great tape on it. Cleveland did work a little bit in this offseason to improve, and I think they're going to be a tough team this year. I see us winning this game, but I think they're going to give everybody else on their schedule a fit.
Okay, sounds good. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I'm hoping Andy Reid has some type of package for Chad Henne to roll out on his right out of the shotgun, and instead of just throwing like 2 yards to Tyreek Hill, he just bombs it down the field to McCall Hardman or something like that. But I mean, I guess on the flip side of that, Eric, I mean, we've also seen their offense and defense too, and I think if Mahomes doesn't get hurt in that game, we probably win that game by at least 2 scores going away. But I just can't bet against Andy Reid in week 1 when he's got a whole season to prepare for you. I've got the Chiefs winning this game.
Brian, what are your thoughts?
Basically the same thing. When I remember that game, the playoffs game. It seemed like it was a blow for blow kind of thing. I remember it being close, if I recall correctly. And basically, I mean, it's every game we play, especially in September, it's just been so hot lately. So, I mean, we're a tough team to beat. Obviously, we're a really tough team to beat in September. So, I mean, I just based on historical precedent and what you guys just said about like knowing the offense and the weapons we have versus their weapons, I can't imagine Chiefs not taking that one down.
Yeah, and I would say that I'm aligned 100%. I expect a win for all the reasons you guys were throwing out. I mean, it's Andy Reid after not only a bye, but a whole half season. I think we're on 10 or 11 straight wins in September or something to that effect through this current streak that we're doing. What this should be and what it's being billed at is the front seven for the Browns versus the new front five for the Chiefs. There should be the unstoppable force versus the immovable objects and so on and so forth. I'm not really sure if I can visually picture the Browns coming out of the gate hot. I'm not really basing that on anything, but I definitely expect a win. I wouldn't be surprised if it's close, but I'm kind of expecting that we win going away and Andy Reid comes out and does some stupid stuff like a Chad Henne rollout from shotgun or something like that, just to have fun. But we'll see. I mean, if
or that's how he does the victory formation.
Exactly. I mean, if things go the way that I'd like to see him go, Henne might be playing the second half. So I don't know. But yeah, so we're all aligned that we're looking at a 1-0 start. So then the next thing we do is we go on the road to the Ravens, and it seems like we play the Ravens in the first month of the season every single year, and this is going to be no exception. So what are you looking at? And we'll go in reverse order this time, starting with Brian.
Am I the only one excited to see what our offensive line is going to be doing? Like just right out of the gate, I'm going to be looking. That's like the things. Obviously, we normally watch with Mahomes and all that stuff, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what our offensive line with all the weapons we picked up, just to, like you said, immovable object kind of situation. So, yeah. So with that, okay, so we've talked about the Ravens. I don't know how many podcasts we've done, 40s probably by at this point, and I think if I'm going to have to pick any team, assuming the Chiefs don't go 16-0. Which obviously it's a tall order.
Will it be 17 this time?
17. Oh yeah. Geez. Okay. 7. I gotta adjust. If I'm gonna pick a team that we may lose to, I'm gonna go with Baltimore Ravens. I mean, especially if it's at Baltimore, right?
It is.
Just tough team to beat. Everywhere you play them, just tough team to beat. Every time I see them play, I'm just like, I always like. I know we've done pretty well against them lately, but every time I watch them, and I've watched them. I know this because when I lived over the last decade, I've lived in different places, and for some reason, I always find the Baltimore Ravens fans, and they've been rubbing. I remember earlier in the decade, they're rubbing my nose in it all the time. So maybe I have a little bit of PTSD in that realm. So that has rubbed off in a way that I think if we're going to lose, the ones we're going to lose, for some reason, I'm leaning the Ravens. I'm going to get this one.
Okay, Chris.
I put it down as a loss. I feel like a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. And I mean, this is what, the third year in a row or fourth year in a row? The fourth year in a row now that we're going to have Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I just put this down as a loss because I just feel like Baltimore's due for one. Doesn't mean that Baltimore's going to be a better team this year, but I just have a weird feeling on this one.
Eric, what are you thinking?
As much as I hate to say it, my son played high school with Lamar Jackson, high school ball with Lamar Jackson down in Beach.
Cool.
So I think the pros that we've got in this one is our offensive line is finally going to have hopefully gelled and fixed any problems that may have arisen in game one going through. I think it's going to be a huge air it out type game. I think it's going to be a big scoring game because Mahomes is going to drive down. The biggest thing our defense can do is stop Lamar Jackson because he's going to run the ball like nobody's business. He knows our run defense isn't the best in the world and hasn't been the best in the world. But the Ravens have always been the Chiefs' whipping board over the last couple of years. Seems like every game we come to, regardless if it's there, if it's an Arrowhead, wherever it's at, we beat them. We also got to remember Mahomes is lights out in primetime ball. Every primetime game, he shows out.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, and I got to say I'm in agreement with Eric. I think they win this game. I was kind of leaning towards where you guys were saying, 4 times in a row in the regular season, every squirrel finds his nut. All of those things, those all make sense. But let's keep in mind that on draft day, we were talking about rumors that the team was possibly moving on from Lamar Jackson. We were talking about them trading their starting right tackle for what seemed like a little bit more than he just didn't want to play, right tackle and wanted to play left. So I don't know. I'm not 100% positive that team's right at this moment and going into the season. And I not seeing it, not feeling it. That's just where I'm at. So, looks like we're split on this one. Totally understand where you guys are coming from. And we might be, sitting here in 6 months going like, oh, wow, that Ravens team came out of the gate hot. But in any event, we'll go a split for this time. And
are we recording this? We're keeping track of this.
I'm keeping track of this. Yeah. I'm keeping track of this.
Oh God.
So right now we're split on starting the season 2-0 and 1-1, and we get to week 3 against the Chargers. This is the home game against the Chargers. Eric, what are you feeling on this one?
Unequivocally, we win this game. We've owned the Chargers and the entire AFC West for the last 5 years. Nothing should stop us. The only thing that's going to stop us is Herbert last year had a great rookie season. If they can actually get more gel with their offense and their receivers, I think it's going to test us, and it may be a good test for us in our AFC West. I don't think anybody else in the AFC West is going to come close to us. And Austin Eckler isn't a superstar running back, so really, what do they have? But their wide receivers and Keenan Allen and those guys.
And we just brought in a new cornerback. Chris, what are you thinking?
I think Patrick Mahomes is going to show Justin Herbert who actually owns this division. I got the Chiefs winning this by at least 2 scores.
Brian.
I think the only way the LA Chargers win this game is if they get their helmets mixed up and somehow the LA Rams might show up instead. Oh, we're playing you guys. Oh, okay. I thought it was the Chargers. Okay, let's see what happens, I guess. No, yeah, LA Chargers. That's I just don't see it happening. I mean, especially after 2 strong games against the Browns and Ravens, and you make some adjustments after those 2 games of just, those are gonna be tough opponents. And I'm looking at the power rankings right now, and they have the Chargers in the 15th spot, and we're obviously number 2 behind the Bucks. So it's like, obviously, we have the weapons, we have the talents. We're going to have 2 games to really get tightened up real fast. So yeah, I don't see it happening.
Yep, I'm on the same page. I don't have anything to add to that. So we're starting 3-0, 1-2, or 2-1 across the board. So Brian, let's roll right into the Eagles. Now this is an away game, so this is going to be out in Philly. And from what I'm hearing, there's going to be some good Chiefs tailgating at this game this upcoming year. So Brian, what do you think is going to happen when we go to Philly?
Oh, this is going to be ugly. This one's going to be ugly. We're going to have a good tailgate. Philadelphia Eagles have the Philadelphia Eagles that we knew during the Always Sunny years, where they were pretty good back in there in the prime time of Always Sunny, right? If I recall correctly, they were like,
I think so, yeah. Like when they were trying out for the Eagles. Yeah.
Didn't they play didn't they win the Super Bowl or play this? I forget.
They won the Super Bowl one year, and they did a thing where I think it was Charlie got stuck at the bar and he was on a ladder, and he had Jason Kelsey and another player show up in his mind to come in and tell him that he was missing the game.
Yeah, what a great episode. Okay, yeah.
Season 13, I believe.
And Frank bought a party bus and he didn't get to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, Chiefs win this one. And it's gonna be ugly because of that episode and the tailgate. Obviously, I know you guys are like the hardcore fans and everything, but I'm going by my own metrics over here. And also by just like the Eagles have not been the same strength that we knew back in those years. And seems like even though I know their fans are rough and tumble, I know that, and anything can happen because we're talking about professional athletes here, and it's hard to win away games. It just is. I mean, you can play the Jets still. I mean, I still consider that a challenge in some respects, and so I think that
in some respects,
hashtag some respects, and okay, yeah. So I think Chiefs win this one.
Okay, Chris.
I got the Chiefs winning, even despite Green Man will probably make an appearance at the game. Another Always Sunny reference, but
I'm gonna go just do that for that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a weird game though, because it's a pretty classic trap game because you got the Bills on the horizon here. But I think it's going to be weird. It's going to feel kind of gross, but they're going to come away winning.
Okay. Eric?
I think the Chiefs should easily win this game. Barring a catastrophic injury, we should easily destroy Philadelphia in this game. Like Chris was saying, the biggest problem I think I see is the Chiefs shooting themselves in the foot, looking forward to week 5 rather than focusing on what's in front of them in week 4.
Yeah, I expect a win. I think this game is going to be uncomfortably close for two reasons. One, the looking forward to the Bills game, and two, I've been to that stadium before, actually for a Chiefs game, Thursday Night Football, when they inducted Donovan McNabb into their ring, and Jamal Charles went off, and
Donnie Avery did too.
I'm loving it.
yeah. And I answered, I don't know how many times, are you seriously happy that Andy Reid is your coach? And I'm like, I don't understand what you want from that guy. He won 9 out of 14 divisions the time he was here. I don't know what you want. But anyway.
Are you seriously happy Chip Kelly is your coach?
Exactly. So I think they win. I think the team, is looking ahead, and the crowd gets up, and it's closer than we want it to be. But you get out of there with a win, and that's really all you're trying to do. So yeah, the Bills. I would say this is probably the first big game that we're looking at for the year. So Eric, what do you think is going to come out of the Bills matchup?
This will be the big one. We're at Arrowhead. It is prime time. I think Mahomes and Allen are just going to blow the numbers up. I think it's going to be 1,000 yards of offense. Diggs, Sanders, Beasley, everybody on our end is just going to be just insane. Both defenses are going to get raked. I think at the end of the day, whoever has the ball last, that's who's going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking we're going to get a repeat of the 2018 classic Rams Chiefs game.
100%. I think it's going to be 52, 55. And the thing is that comes out of that is you got to realize the Bills are still salty over last year's playoff loss. Everybody had them picked to go. Bills Mafia was ready to burn the place down when they lost.
Yeah. So what are you picking? You gotta pick a winner.
I'll say Chiefs because we're at Arrowhead in prime time.
Okay. Chris.
I'm right there with Eric. I think it's going to be back and forth, high scoring. And yeah, I think Mahomes will end up with the ball last, not Allen. So I got Chiefs.
Cool. Brian?
Well, this might be the place where I kind of buck the trend here, only because I know it's going to be a tight one. I know it's going to be a big one. And I just know I'm going to have to eat crow because the last time we won, I made a gif of me punching a bag with a Bills logo on it. And and I actually have quite a few Bills fans in my Facebook page and follow me. And I have a feeling I'm going to have to eat it whenever that. They probably been waiting a whole year. They're like, hey, we're going to have to. They're not going to forget about that, I'm thinking.
Bag's going to punch you back this time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess to like maybe lean into karma, I'm going to go with Bills and hoping I'm wrong.
Okay.
So that's my pick there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think the primetime game, and I think that we've got a team that fixed the biggest problem they had, which was the line, and I think they're going to be hungry. I think they probably are going to end up meaning this take it back more than they meant run it back. In some ways, I think we're going to see more just anger behind it and everything. So week 6, we go back out on the road. This is going to be the next big Arrowhead Kingdom tailgate. We play the Washington football team and whoever they decide to put under center. Good Ron Rivera team. But Brian, what are you thinking for the Washington football team?
Oh, I'm thinking Chiefs on this one. It was that their division last. That was a fun thing to talk about last year. Was that division, I forget what it is. Is the NFC? Was it East one or which one is it?
It's
NFC
East.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting better at memorizing all this stuff. Yeah, when we're like talking about you win 7 games, you make it to the playoffs. What
7
the hell?
and 9, yeah.
What the hell?
All you need.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that kind of talent and with that kind of competition, I'm like, we're the Chiefs, so no, we're gonna win this one. So just by those numbers, that's what I'm going with.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
So I'm thinking there's going to be at least one pick six if it fits magic in this game. And I could see it being something like Willie Gay or, someone unexpected or Juan Thornhill. But I think the football team is I think they'll be able to keep the game relatively low scoring, but ultimately it's going to be the football team's offense probably turning the ball over too much. So I got Chiefs.
So you think Fitzmagic is still the starter in Week 6?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, who else do they have?
I don't know, but
exactly.
Eric, what do you think of this game?
I don't care. I mean, I don't know.
The only way the Chiefs lose, again, catastrophic injury. Mahomes is going to have Madden numbers. He's going to have crazy out of the wall numbers, but Ryan Fitzmagic always finds a way to win, to pull something, a rabbit out of his hat at the last second. So I think there's going to be a lot of Fitzpatrick to McLaurin.
Yep. And Fitzmagic is definitely one of those guys that when he has a good game, he has a good game. But so you're picking
game, he has
exactly.
a bad game.
So it looks like we're all picking the Chiefs in that one again. So the second of our back-to-back road games is going to Tennessee. So we're going to Nashville, which is once again going to be another big tailgate. So Eric, what are you thinking out of this game?
We've already tamed King Henry once. We can do it again. I just hope that Spags doesn't focus everything on Henry, because Tannehill still can make numbers and still get good numbers and good passing to their receivers. Granted, I have the Chiefs win, but it's going to be a lot closer and a lot better game than most people are thinking.
Yep. And this is in late October, so we should still have decent enough weather. It might be a little cold. You're going to get some wind in Nashville right by the river, but we shouldn't be looking at blizzard type conditions. Chris, what are you thinking?
I'm still waiting to see a regular season game against the Titans that's not completely weird. I put this down as a loss just because I'm just jaded that way against playing the Titans in regular season. I don't really have any rationale for it. I'm not going to predict what's going to happen, because honestly, that's what really happens in these games, is just a lot of weird stuff. So I'm going to put this down as an L.
Brian, what do you got?
I am torn on the fence. I'm going to leave it to the cards. Let me just shuffle the deck here, do one of these. And if I draw an ace, we win. We win. How about that? All right.
Okay.
All right, we're winning. It's in the cards. So yeah, we win this one. It's going to be close, but we win that one.
Yep.
Cards are spoken.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a less weird game than normal. I think that we're going to find out that their offense used Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith a little more intrinsically than the Titans thought when they let them both leave. So I think we end up winning, but it'll be a battle. Derrick Henry is probably going to put up a ton of yards, and we're gonna throw a bunch. It's gonna come to a point where we're gonna have enough of a lead that the Titans are gonna have to throw the ball more than is comfortable for them, and we'll be able to stop AJ Brown from running completely wild. And I don't really know who else they throw it to, so I think we win that game as well. As of right now, we have Eric and I as total believers starting the season 7-0 as we roll into week 8, where we host the New York Giants. Brian, what do you think?
Hey, can I just make a point of order here, Josh? Is that okay? Am I allowed to do that?
You can.
I want Chris. Can you go first this time? I want Chris to go first this time. Is that
all right? We'll have Chris go. We'll go in a crisscross, starting with Chris.
All right.
Warm it up here then. I get the Chiefs being salty coming off that weird loss to the Giants, or to the Texans, and they're going to take it out on the Giants on Monday Night Football. It's just going to be a slaughter, and Daniel Jones will probably get benched in this game. So I got the Chiefs pick.
Nice. Eric, what do you think?
You got Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, if he can stay healthy, Galladay, Shepard, and Ingram. I mean, on paper, the Giants look great, but it's like they can never get everybody together at the same time at the same place. Half of the team shows up one week, the other half shows up the next week. Again, Chiefs are going to blow them out. Primetime Monday night game. My losses for the Chiefs are coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Sure. Brian, do you want me to go now?
I can go. Hold on, I can go.
Okay.
He just wanted to buy himself some more time. That's why he had to go first.
You're making us sound like, Brian, can you go now? Like I'm some sort of jerk you know, I want to mix it up a little bit, you know? No, I mean, I'm looking at the numbers here. Giants in the same spot they were last time in terms of rankings. What they traded out each of their first 2 picks, maneuvering for trader Dave Gettleman. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's their GM. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I'm going by obviously like competitiveness that I saw over the previous year, and obviously we know how explosive our team is. We watch them every game, we watch every down, we watch every pass and every run, and we watch, you know, and for like that's what's fun when you go up against other hardcore fans. They watch every down of their team, and then you like get excited for saying like you haven't seen nothing yet. You got to see how we do this. It's a lot of fun, and so when I see things like the New York Giants, to me, I mean, the amount of noise they made last year obviously was kind of quiet. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like is Eli Manning still the quarterback? I think he is. Is he not?
No, Daniel Jones is. Eli Manning retired.
Yeah, he's
When
busy
did he
eating some
retire?
red hot on his wings right now.
Couple years ago.
Couple years. Okay. Oh my God, that's how bad I am at this.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, in fairness, the Giants haven't really been relevant enough to care about this. And right now, New York is just getting its soul beat in on a regular basis. You could have done that punching bag thing and put New York City football on there, and that would have been appropriate. And I don't think you'd be getting any karma back, because the Giants and the Jets suck in the biggest city in the continent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's gotta be rough. 8.4 million people. I looked it up today, by the way, because I saw Austin, Texas is past the 2 million population mark as of this year. But neither here nor there. Yeah, Chiefs win this one. Long story short, Chiefs win.
Yeah, so I'm down with. I'm gonna say that Sterling Shepard's hurt, Daniel Jones gets benched, and Gettleman gets fired after this game. I think this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. And really at this point, I don't even know that there's straws anymore. This is the cinder block that finally makes the Giants ownership just be like, all right, fine, we didn't get it right again. Yeah, I think a horrible primetime blowout in the middle of the season to the Chiefs is going to be the
this
thing.
matchup on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, exactly.
Really...
exactly. And I mean, this one was wishful thinking by the NFL. I listened to a ton of Colin Cowherd and like Mad Dog Radio, just driving around the past couple days, and there's some really interesting takes. Especially, I've always loved listening to Colin Cowherd, and he was talking about the schedule and just some of the nice gems that the NFL threw in. And so earlier today he had Pete Schrager on, and they were talking about how week 4 the Buccaneers go to Foxborough, and Tom Brady is something like 1,100 yards short of passing Drew Brees for all-time passing. So if he throws the ball for roughly 250 to 300 yards the first 3 weeks of the season, he might get to break that record in Foxborough with Bill Belichick sitting on the other side. I'm rooting for that.
I hope he comes up to like 2 yards short, I'll be honest with you. I'm still pretty salty. Yeah,
I don't know. I've always liked Brady. I can't say that I don't. I've always liked Brady, and
I just have a vendetta after the Super Bowl right now. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't feel this way. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick's a curmudgeon, and watching somebody like that get slapped upside the face and in front of the world's funny, and that's what I'm rooting for. So,
well, I do want to point out that speaking of that, I do tip of the hat to the Giants, because they did have that amazing Super Bowl win over the Patriots that one year that stopped them from their perfect season, and so we will always have that.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I amend my sentiment. I hope he breaks it, and then he gets sacked for 10 yards and he loses it.
That would be incredible.
Yep.
That'd be incredible. So you're talking like he drops the ball in victory formation, and the Patriots pick the ball up
after like a 10-minute break to give him
he throws a screen to James White, and James White just starts running backwards.
There you go. Oh, that's great. All right, so we'll go into week 9, which is the bonus game with the Green Bay Packers coming to town. and I'll go ahead and jump on this one and go first to mix stuff up. I'm putting this one down as a loss, mainly just because I think that when we finally get the Mahomes Rodgers game that we want, Rodgers is going to come out. He's going to be, firing. And after an 8-0 start, we maybe take the foot off the gas a little bit. I'm not exactly sure how the whole thing is going to go down, but for whatever reason, this is just one of the losses that I had circled on the calendar. So, Brian, what are you thinking for this game?
Obviously, this is the big one. Now, is Brett Favre still the quarterback for Green Bay? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's Bart Starr.
Oh, Bart Starr. Yeah. Big fan.
Yeah, and for the record, I don't think it's going to be Jordan Love. I don't think Rodgers is going anywhere. So. He's going to be playing in Green Bay for at least
Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is a marquee. This is the marquee game right here, and so I gave 2 up too early in the season with kind of heavy hitters. I think this is going to be one of those really, really good wins that we have right here. This is where I think we. Because I gave up 2 earlier in the season that were painstaking. I know this is going to be heavyweights trading blows back and forth, hitting hard, and it's just it's one of those things like we get to the 9th game of the season. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that happens. There's we're halfway through the season, and this is when things start to obviously a lot of adjustments have been made. This is when injuries start to injuries come into play here, and you got to rest people up and everything. I should say, assuming Mahomes is the quarterback, we win this game. I should give that caveat, and it's going to be close.
All right, so Brian's thinking this is one that the BCS committee would call a good win, maybe a signature win. I don't know. Eric, what are you thinking on this one? I know you said you had some losses coming up. Is this one of them?
This is one of them.
Yeah.
And the thing is just what Brian was saying. We're at week 9. The boys are getting tired. They're getting beat up. We've had 2-3 heavyweight fights already. Can we take another one and keep it up? That's the problem that we're going to run into. I think we're going to run out of gas the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
But I've got the Packers.
See, this is where my prediction kind of sets up a different scenario, because there's going to be no dragon for Aaron Rodgers to slay, because this team is going to be 6-2 by my count. And I think this is where Mahomes is going to step up again. And finally, 2 years in the making, the Rodgers Mahomes matchup is finally going to happen. But I got the Chiefs winning this game. I got them winning by a touchdown, but in pretty much in victory formation is what I got.
All right, Chris, roll into the Raiders away week 10, and this will be another big Arrowhead Kingdom tailgate in Las Vegas.
I want to go. Can we go?
The only thing that's making me have any real pause about potentially doing that is everything that I'm seeing. It's gonna be something like $600-700 to walk in the door at that place, which is
in their new stadium.
Well, the funny thing is, when I look at Groupon tickets, the hotels in Vegas, it's $25 a night. I guess I can do that, but. Yeah, unless I'm thinking of 2017 numbers, I don't know.
Yeah, so in any event, this is the second weekend of November. We got November 14th, so that's a hell of a time to start going from places like Kansas and Wisconsin. It's generally still fairly mild, but that Vegas weather is pretty awesome in November. So this would be a good tailgate. So I'm just gonna throw this out right here. If I was gonna be going to any game on the road, this is 100% mine. But Chris, what are you thinking for a result here?
I think this will be the Raiders Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs will be coming off a pretty emotional win against the Packers. Kind of weird to say that you're going into your rival, but the Raiders are going to be garbage somewhat, or mediocre. I got the Raiders winning this game. But it's not going to be like the 40-32 like last year. I think it's going to be, maybe something a little bit. I don't see them being up by 2 scores most of the second half. I think maybe they they end up scoring late, and then they just, the Chiefs just aren't able to overcome the deficit, something like that. But I got down as an L.
Brian, what do you got?
Oh, by the way, I was thinking $20 a night. I was basing that off of, we watched Rain Man last night, and I guess Tom Cruise paid $20 for a hotel with Dustin Hoffman and that one hotel just outside. So that's what I was thinking. I got the $20 number, because that was before that awesome scene where they counted cards. Just so you know.
By the way, you 100% can get a $20-$30 hotel room in downtown Vegas. You can stay at like Four Queens in some of those places. Now you're going to pay a resort fee, but paying under $40 for a room is still a real thing.
If we go there, Josh, you can bring your golf clubs. I want to play golf there.
Sure. Yeah, we'll play golf in Vegas.
Okay, so I think I had the Chiefs winning this one, even though like they had their stupid little, for some we played on last year, they had their stupid little win against us and their stupid little victory lap. I do think there's going to be a team that we're kind of going with Chiefs losing to the heavy hitters. There's going to be a game we lose this season coming up that we should, and on paper, not lose, and that happens. I don't think this is that game at this point. But no, I think Chiefs win this one.
Eric, what do you got?
I got the Raiders. They're going to be tough. It's going to be a prime time. Derek Carr is going to come out. And regardless, whenever we play the Raiders, if it's at home, if it's away, it's always a tough game. The Chargers and the Broncos, we can usually handily beat. I don't know what it is about the Raiders, but they always have our number. And it's bull crap calls and plays that get us.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I've got back-to-back losses, Packers and Raiders, and this just kind of feels like one of those games. Hope Brian's right. That's all I'll say about that one. So the next one we're going to get to is the home game that I'd like to go to. We have the brand versus the brand. So we've got the biggest brand for a team in the Dallas Cowboys coming to Arrowhead, playing against the biggest brand and a player in one Patrick Mahomes. So we should be seeing Dak and his weapons against Patrick and his weapons. And Eric, we'll start with you. What do you got for this Cowboys-Chiefs matchup?
The biggest thing is Sean Lee retired. He was one half of that Vander Esch Lee defensive that kept Dallas somewhat together. Can Vander Esch hold the rest of it together without him on the other end? I don't think so. I think the Chiefs are going to demolish the Cowgirls. It's just going to be that way. I know Zeke will come in and try to do big. I know Dak. I've followed Dak since he was at Mississippi State as a freshman, through all the way through to following him in Dallas. I love him to death, but I think the Chiefs are definitely going to hand him a big loss.
Chris, what are you thinking?
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be very good this year. Their offensive line's not good. I actually think Zeke is past his prime, and that defense is awful. I'm going to go so far to say I think Mahomes is going to pass for close to 500 yards in this game. So I got the Chiefs running away in this one.
Brian, what do you got?
Well, we all know the intimidation factor of that power division known as the NFC East, and I think they're going to come out.
There's Brian.
They're going to come out swinging with everything they got, and they're going to lose by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you with Zeke, Chris. I don't think he's that good anymore. I think that he was that disease of the big paycheck, and he's just been softer since then. The Cowboys line's old. Dak is gonna keep this game interesting by playing his face off in this situation, and I think he's gonna have a good season, but
he's gonna get sacked a lot.
It's Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's not going into Arrowhead and winning a game.
No,
it's not happening. So okay. So it looks like we're all picking wins on that one. So as we get to the bye week, it looks like Eric and I and Brian are looking at 9-2 for the record going into the bye week, and Chris is looking at 8-3. So definitely.
Can I make a motion here?
Yeah, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I get a damn Thanksgiving that I can rest and relax and not have to stress out about who we're playing on the front or the back end, and I can actually focus on family that week.
Yeah, there you go.
True,
there you go. There you go.
I can enjoy planes, trains, and automobiles without having to worry about football.
Finally.
All I gotta do is spend another Thanksgiving. Like, why do the Cowboys and Lions have to be playing on Thanksgiving?
Exactly.
I mean,
And Brian, I think the John Hughes movie you're really looking for is Home Alone. This is the beginning of Home Alone season.
This is Home.
This is the beginning of Home Alone season. We got John Candy, Polka.
That's right.
Big in Sheboygan. We're big in
Yeah,
Sheboygan.
we're big in Sheboygan.
Yeah.
We're big in Sheboygan. So I always thought that scene was funny, but it's one of those when you go back and watch movies that came out when you were a little kid. You watch them again when you're older and they're just funnier. But living in Wisconsin as well, that might be one of the funniest scenes in movies, period. Just knowing where these places are. So Chris, were you around when the Cramp and Adler show was on 102.1?
It sounds familiar. I didn't listen to a lot of 102.1, but that does sound familiar.
So there was this morning radio show, and we'll say this was like 10 years ago at this point, but it was two guys, and this was the alternative rock station, but it was Cramp and Adler in the morning, and they were just banter back and forth when you're driving to work. But all of a sudden one day there's like, we haven't done it in a while. We haven't done What's More Sheboygan. And what they would do is they would pull out the Sheboygan newspaper and just look for the most ridiculous story. And Sheboygan's not a big town. It's what, Chris, probably 50, 60,000 people, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's right on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm not even going to look it up, but it's an hour north of Milwaukee. It's halfway from Milwaukee to Green Bay along the interstate that runs straight north out of downtown. And you can surf there because it gets windy enough. Surf
for
there
like 1 week a year.
Kind of like how you can go skiing in Wisconsin. I moved here from Colorado, so anyway, so there's stuff like that goes on. But in a town of that size, you have big companies like Kohler, for example, and so there's like all these big manufacturing companies and things of that nature, and there's just some crazy people, and you have news periodicals that don't have anything better to cover. But so they would pull these stories out, and they would read two stories and say which of those is more Sheboygan, and callers would call in. Now this pretty quickly devolved into people just calling and saying the most like evil, uncalled for things about this town, and just be like, oh, people are just worthless dirt bags and blah blah blah. But at the beginning it was kind of cheeky and fun, and you would have people talking about these weird news stories. So that's what I think of when I think of Sheboygan.
Plus it's closer to Manitowoc than Milwaukee for you making a Murderer fans, but
yeah, exactly. And it's up in Paper Valley. Right to, if you drew a triangle from Green Bay to Sheboygan and then Appleton, Wisconsin, which I don't know who's drawing that triangle, but you can pull out a map at home and look at that.
Appleton's quaint. But
but
they got a brewery.
But some of the biggest paper mills are up there, and so in addition to manufacturing around the Great Lakes, you're going to see a lot of printing. But Kimberly-Clark, which is most paper towels you're buying, and Huggies diapers and stuff like that, are all based up in the Appleton area. So I guess while we're on the bye week, I picked the Chiefs to win that, and I'm drinking bourbon tonight. What do you guys have?
I'm having bourbon as well.
Nice.
So this is where Andy Reid goes into his laboratory and comes up with a nightmare for the Broncos.
Yeah, exactly. I'm drinking Rebel Yell. They don't sponsor us, but we'll pick up the phone if they call. So let's roll into that Broncos game, Chris. How bad do you think this beating is going to be? I'm going to put wins in across the board because I don't want to take the time to think about this when you guys are all giving your takes. So Chris, how bad do you think this one's going to be?
I think for some reason Drew Lock is going to start this game because Teddy Bridgewater is, he gets hurt every now and then. I got some weird feeling it'd be Drew Lock, and it's going to be a massacre. I just
in Arrowhead.
The Chiefs running away.
All right, Eric, what do you think this beatdown's going to look like?
They still have Melvin Gordon.
They do.
He still runs all over the place. Drew Lock's he's not going to put up major numbers, but I think they're going to keep it closer than I think. I still have the Chiefs winning. Sutton, Judy, Lock, and Fant all get together. We could be in a little bit of trouble, but I think we're still going to persevere and win.
I think Tyrann Mathieu is going to have more catches from Drew Lock than Jerry Jeudy will. I'm going to go on record saying that.
You know what, Chris? I hope you're exactly correct.
Brian, what do you got?
Well, you're not so fast there, Josh. You know,
Ooh.
I got the W. Yeah, Chiefs are going to win, but that's with Aaron Rodgers not at the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's right.
Aaron Rodgers is not going to Denver.
No, he's not.
But suppose they clone like Multiplicity style, that movie with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, they would get the clown version.
Yeah, the one that shaves his tongue.
No, look at the badass version who was like all awesome. All right, now Chiefs win unless they find a way to, I don't know, do a Jurassic Park kind of situation where they multiply and clone people. But yeah, no, Chiefs win.
So on the back-to-back home game, 2 weeks in a row, we bring the Raiders in the next week. I'm going to go first. We're going to curb stomp those guys as a thank you for what they do to us in Vegas.
I'm in agreement.
All right, so
I hope we take a victory lap in our bus afterward after that.
Yeah, seriously. God. Brian, what do you got?
Yeah, this is not the one I expect them to lose either. That we should not lose on paper. So yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
Game.
We're going to enjoy this one.
All right, so then we have the away game against one formerly San Diego, now LA Chargers. Brian, what are you thinking from this one here?
Well, you know, geez, I'm looking at these numbers here. I have taken 2 from the Raiders, taken 2 from the Broncos, even though we haven't gotten to the Broncos yet. I mean, that really makes me feel like, I know I love my team, obviously, but I know they're not invincible. I still think I win this one, but my God, I feel like it's going to starting to wear down a little bit, and we got to start at these numbers at this point. I know that usually it's the last game where they start making the adjustments and start thinking about that. We're not quite there yet, obviously in week 15, but yeah, I think we win this one. Yeah, I hate being so predictable because I know there's a lot of very talented players out there, but if the recent history has shown anything, we know what we're doing, and we made some amazing moves in the offseason. And hopefully by this time, if they come out hot, that offensive line giving Mahomes the time he needs, by this point they better be there. Obviously they'll be firing on all cylinders, barring any injuries of any kind, but they'll be tough to get around. So yeah, I think the Chiefs take care of this one.
Brian, I'd love to see you coach pro sports just so we can watch the press conferences where you talk about how formidable the opponents were after the game.
I like to. I think I feel like I would be like. No, I do all the canned responses that are like, don't say anything but say something, like you know, we're gonna. What's that line? That scene from Bull Durham, where it's like, look, don't say anything.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, you know, what we're really doing is we're taking this one game at a time. You know, I mean, we're playing a bunch of talented opposition, and you know, it's on to tomorrow at this point.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, we're just lucky we survived and got out of there alive. Have you seen how big those guys are? They're like 6'9", 400 pounds. I don't know how our guys don't die. Well, of course, they're like 6'9", 400 pounds, but I'm just freaking out the whole time on the sidelines. That would be me. That would be me in the press conference.
All right, Chris, what do you got for the Chargers? We win or loss?
I think the Chargers are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. I think they're good enough. This will be, you know, a big game for them. I got the Chargers winning this game. Now, I also forgot to mention the game that I would go to in Arrowhead would be the Packer game, because I really want to see Rodgers, Mahomes. This would actually be the away game I would go to, because I would really like to see that new LA stadium full with people. Go to LA in December, and plus, you know, there's going to be plenty of red jerseys in that crowd. So, and plus, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a really good game. But I'm going to take the Chargers winning this. So this is going to be actually a sneak preview. This will be the last loss I hang for the Chiefs here.
Yep, and we're also looking at another big Arrowhead Kingdom tailgate presence there.
Mm-hmm.
So Eric, what do you got?
I think it's going to be a big Chiefs win. It's another primetime Thursday night game. I think it's our last primetime game of the season, so they're definitely going to want to let everybody see it, because they're not going to see us in primetime again till possibly the playoffs. So I think it's going to be a big win, a big game. Mahomes should put up great numbers in that one.
Yeah, I've got to go with Chris here. I'm putting this one down as a loss as well. I think that by this time, the Chargers have a little bit of mojo trying to go for a playoff game, and 4-2 is still owning the division, but got to throw a little bit of respect at the teams that are putting something of a squad together. So I'm going to go with that being my third and final loss as well to go. So then we get into the last 3 games of the season. So week 16, 17, and 18, we got the Steelers at home, then the Bengals and the Broncos away. Keep in mind, unless the NFL decides that they're going with 8 playoff teams, we're still looking at 1 seed left. And so as we go into this, Eric, I'll have you go first. What do you think is going to be the result of the Steelers home game?
This is the one that perplexed me, but I think it's going to be a Chiefs win. Roethlisberger's old. It's his last year, I'm thinking. He's not playing what he used to, as good as he used to. His numbers are going to be down, and hopefully our numbers are up. I still have another loss coming to us.
Okay.
And I'll explain it.
Gotcha. So we got a Steelers victory over the Steelers from Eric. Chris, what are you thinking?
I think this is going to be a rock fight, but I don't think the Steelers are going to have enough offense in this game. And it's probably going to be Patrick Mahomes' worst game of the year, which, his worst game is a lot of other quarterbacks' best game.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is going to be a tough one just because that Steeler defense is really good and Mike Tomlin can still coach. But Steelers won't be able to score enough points. I got Chiefs with a win on this one.
It's day after Christmas. Definitely have some potential weather going on there. Brian, what are you thinking?
I think this is the one of them where I'm thinking loss. Steelers are obviously still ranking in the upper third of the league. Roethlisberger, he's fading and he's getting he just isn't doing what he normally does, but he's still a competitor and he's still he knows what he's doing. He knows how to win games. So this is one of those games that I think even though it's one of those home games that we probably obviously should win, but I think this is the one that bites us in the ass, and we walk out with an L on this one. But we still are looking good for what's coming up in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs win. I mean, I did an off-season thing with a guy named Josh Roswag here recently, who's from Pittsburgh, and everybody that I've ever known from Pittsburgh, which is a pretty substantial amount of people. They relish the people that pick against their team because they expect to be there every year. And to me, when you see a not confident Steelers fan who's saying things like, I'm just happy that we got hockey going on because the Pirates are just hot garbage and always have been and always will be. To me, I kind of take that seriously. And I also don't know a ton of people from Pittsburgh that try to do the reverse curse, good juju, whatever you want to call it, because they've never had any reason to believe that exists when it comes to football. So I think that Steelers fans are truly bracing for a bad season, and they understood how much of an anomaly that 12-0 start was last year and how uncalled for that actually was. So I don't think the Chiefs have any trouble with this one. So staying in the AFC North, we have the Bengals. Brian, what do you think we're going to see from the Bengals?
Good old Sin City.
And this isn't the Bengals, so there's no walking like an Egyptian or anything like that. I want you to talk about a football game.
My wife and I, we refer to Cincinnati as Sin City because whenever we went there, that we just had the best time. And I would howl like an idiot.
Highly underrated city. You can have a ton of fun in Cincinnati.
It's
highly underrated.
Spectacular.
Highly underrated.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know it.
The football focus headquarters are there too.
Yeah. They've also got the second biggest Hofbrau house, I believe, in the country, beside Vegas.
By the river, or is it by the river? Yeah.
Yeah. You can do some shot ski. They got the big German beer hall and everything like that. Now, Cincinnati's good stuff. Their area around the stadium is a good time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I can't say enough good things. When we were there, Tanya loved it because reminded her actually of Kiev. She had a feeling like the city in the middle of the river and running around and everything. So we
Did you
almost thought
guys
about
get
moving
knifed
there.
and like mugged at knife point or whatever? Because that happens.
We didn't get the full Cincinnati experience or Kiev experience.
the Kiev experience.
Full Kiev experience. No, we did not. But no, great town, great city, and a lot of fun. So, but yeah, no. With that said, Chiefs will destroy them, and that'll be that.
Chris, what do you got?
They're going to be playing for the number 1 overall seed, according to my predictions. I think Joe Burrow is going to improve this year, but the Bengals they're not going to have enough firepower to keep up with Kansas City. And again, when you got a motivated Kansas City team, I guess in January, not December at this point, playing for a 1 seed, I get the Chiefs winning this game convincingly.
Yeah, our last 2 games are January 1st and 9th.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Eric, what do you got?
Chiefs win. Just what Chris was saying. Joe Burrow is going to be trying to still make a big name for himself. And he played pretty good last year. Middle of the road talent. Joe Mixon, he could be better. But I see us blowing them out.
Cool. Yep, I agree. I don't think the Bengals have anything for us, and Paul Brown Stadium is going to be a very red paintable situation the day after New Year's. That's it's not a far drive from Milwaukee. I might Brian, we might have to talk about a little bit of Sin City.
I want to go to Sin City. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we do New Year's in Indianapolis because that's what rational people do.
You know what? Let's just do a little Oxford, little Indianapolis, little Cincinnati. We'll just like do the circuit, walk around there, and that's some Dayton, Ohio. Let's go see some, those streetcars that they have on the railroad tracks.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Eric, we're gonna start with you on this Broncos game. You said something about another loss coming up. I'm interested to see how you see this going. Do you think we have everything locked up for a 1 seed? We just don't play, or?
That's exactly my thought. And that's what's happened the last couple of years is that we have come to this week and we have got everything locked up. We're not going to hurt everybody. We're playing our practice squad. Henny gets more time in. We're getting everything done that we need done. And all of our starters are in civics watching the game from the sidelines. And we're going to lose that game.
I agree with you with everything that you talk about in the game, but I think they still win. Swear I'm at.
It's in January in Denver, so you can guarantee there's going to be 4 foot of snow on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. I still think they win.
You're making my point harder. Actually, I think I
really think the Broncos suck that bad. I really do. Chris, go for it.
Well, based on my scenario, I think they're going to go in 12-4. I think they're going to be tied with the Bills at that point. They're going to own this tiebreaker, so they're going to need this game. And I also think Patrick Mahomes will set the single season passing yardage record in this game, with a bit of an asterisk.
I was going to say with or without the asterisk.
I'm going to put the asterisk on it, but he's going to go above and beyond that. You're really not going to be able to doubt, I guess, put that asterisk on it too much. But yeah, I got the Chiefs winning.
So let me ask you this: how many yards above do you think warrants not having an asterisk in a 17-game season?
250.
Okay.
I mean,
Brian,
by those metrics, I just think just go through the first 16 games and say, did you pass it through that? That's how I would measure it personally. But obviously, there's a lot of different ways we can argue that. But yeah, I'm with Eric on this one. This is where I think they're gonna, like we did last season. You rest your studs and you put in your backup studs, and you see what they got, because we need it. We need, if I recall correctly, that Chad Henne situation worked out whenever Mahomes got knocked around pretty good, and we needed somebody with some. He got a whole game of snaps the game before, and I remember thinking
right.
Yeah, right. Just keep it together. So, but yeah. So I think we lose this one. based on just kind of the historical precedent based on that, which is obviously which means that we're doing well. What I should be saying is we had a good season at this point.
All right, so to recap at this point, I'm going with the win, obviously. So Eric and I are thinking 14-3 season. Chris and Brian are thinking 13-4 season. I think we're all kind of aligned that we're thinking, 1 seed is what we're playing for, and we're probably going to end up getting. So I wanted to be in the building in Arrowhead against the Cowboys, and I wanted to go to Vegas for the Raiders. Chris, what were your home and away? You wanted Packers and then away to the Chargers?
Yep.
Okay, Eric, what were you thinking?
I was thinking the Packers and Vegas.
Yep. Okay. And then Brian, your away was the Bengals, right?
Sin City.
Sin City, baby.
Sin City. So what's the home game you would want?
So to do what?
So if you could go to any home game at Arrowhead and any away game, I forgot you didn't get the notes for this. So what's the home game that you would want to go to, and what's the away game you'd want to go to?
Okay, yeah, Sin City. Oh hell yeah, that'd be sweet. Or what home game? Green Bay.
Okay. All right. So that's that. I think we're all expecting big things. I'll just for one say that I really think that this whole Take It Back tour is going to be said with a lot of passion. That the team's going to be pretty riled up. I think they're going to come out hungry. If there's been any question about how hungry Brett Veach is to get this team back to the Super Bowl, I don't think there's any question left for that at this point. So, if he somehow manages to go 0 for 6 on the offensive line, that's the only way that I see us not being, highly competitive and putting a solid run towards another Super Bowl appearance and hopefully another victory here as well. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're all aligned. So looking forward to this season coming up. The best thing about the NFL schedule coming out is that the prospects of being part of an NFL season become very real at this point. So looking forward to that. I think at this point we can get to our parting shot situation. So Brian, what is yours? We'll let you go first.
Well, I read in the news the other day that the MLB is asking the Oakland A's to start thinking about going to a different city to host their ball club. And so this is just one of those moments where when the boss comes up to you, it's like, you really need to start finding another job. Like I think we all know what's going on. You know what's going on. We know what's going on. Let's start, I think it's time for give another town a shot. So with that said, I don't know what team is or what city is most primed for such a club to enter the MLB. I'll leave that to you guys to maybe think about that. I don't know if there's a Memphis situation or if does Florida need another one. I don't know.
Jacksonville needs one.
I'm more than happy to comment on this. So Patrick Maher is another guy on Mad Dog Radio. They did a whole round about this. So the name that's always kind of come up when MLB having an expansion franchise or something to that effect, the name that's always come up traditionally has been Portland as a city that'll support their team. But the names that seem to be thrown around, Austin, Texas. I think we were talking about them hitting 2 million. So that's putting 3 teams in Texas. So that's the positive, negative of that situation. Charlotte and Raleigh have come up. So North Carolina having one. Charlotte's AAA team, which is the White Sox feeder team, has a stadium that you could play Major League Baseball in tomorrow. And so you could throw Charlotte out there. You would have another Eastern time zone team, which clearly the numbers for Eastern time zone teams kind of speak for themselves. So those are the names that I've seen thrown out. Nashville was another one that came out, another city that's blowing up. For me, of that list, Portland, I think, sounds the most intriguing, and some of that's just keeping the team out on the Western time zone. But Austin, Texas, you want to talk about getting a brand new stadium and all the corporate sponsorship and boxes and things of that you could possibly want, and just a good business situation. If I was betting, I would probably bet on Austin.
All right. Anyone else have any thoughts? Just while we're doing the parting shots, just
I'll always say Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. All right.
There you go.
I just think it's hilarious how the city of Oakland will not put any money into those crappy stadiums. I mean,
Have you been in that building?
No, and I never will. I have no desire.
That is one of the worst buildings I've been in.
Yeah, I can just see that every time I watch any sporting event there.
Yeah, no, that place is a toilet, and it's a toilet that I didn't think had any redeeming qualities. So my one experience with going into that place, I've been told that Raider games were really fun, but I remember going in there, and the second that last out was recorded, the ushers were in the aisles trying to tell everybody to go walk back through the razor wire tunnel to get back on the BART train and get out of there. And we're just like, well, we've got half a beer. They're like, that's cool. You got a lot of stadium to walk out of. That's exactly what they told us. So it was just complete lack of hospitality. I don't know that I've seen a concession stand with less of a sense of urgency. And if you're going to smell like sewer gas is backing up from every single pipe that they have in the building, it would be nice to be holding a beer while you're doing it, but they made that as hard as possible. Yeah, just not accommodating at all. That place is just a pit. I mean, the other crazy rough stadium that I went to, the old Islanders Stadium, Nassau County Coliseum, that place was awesome. I mean, you had porta potties outside that you had to use because there just weren't enough facilities. D2 colleges, like where Brian and I went to school, their arena was probably bigger concourses than this place. But when you walk into that area where they play hockey, you see all these championship banners in the rafters, and you're right on top of the ice. And that's probably the best NHL hockey watching situation that I've ever been to. So that place had this, it's a dump, but it's our dump kind of vibe. And Oakland has none of that. Oakland has no redeeming, value. That building doesn't.
It doesn't seem like it.
So I'm rooting for MLB, and get out of Oakland. So Eric, what's your parting take?
Well, it seems again, NFL's made Kansas City the whipping post. We have the 11th strongest strength of schedule, and the Bucks, the Super Bowl champions, are 29th in the league at strongest schedule. And of course, they set it up so Brady can go to the Super Bowl one more time. To me, the biggest thing is, in 2017 to 2019, we shored up our offense. 2020, we shored up defense. Now in 2021, we shored up our offensive line. What else do we have to do? When are they going to start respecting us and giving us, I don't want 11th, maybe 15th, maybe 20th. Why can't we go 28th? We played in the Super Bowl just like the Bucks did. The Bucks record for the teams they're playing next year, their record last year was sub 500. It's 465. Ridiculous that we continue to get crazy schedules like this, playing the toughest teams, but hopefully it makes us better in the long run.
Yeah. Only thing that I'll say to that, I think that there's a little bit of AFC versus NFC here. We clearly play the better conference.
Oh yeah.
True. I mean, true. Until the Pro Bowl became a joke, AFC always beat the NFC up.
Yeah. And if you were just literally picking the best players, there wouldn't be anybody from the NFC.
The entire NFC East.
Oh,
exactly.
yes.
Just like, no, you don't get to send anybody. It's just like we're good.
We're sweats just hearing the name.
We're good. Is there an NIT version of the Pro Bowl that we can put
Not invited tourney.
So we're gonna put the Jags, the Bengals, and the I don't even know who else I would throw out in the
Texans.
Yeah, the Texans. So we're gonna let you pick your best players, and you're gonna play against the best that the NFC East has to offer. We're gonna tell them that it's on prime time. It's not on prime time.
The cameras are on.
Yeah, they're just like they're the like one drama that's trying to fit into like NBC's traditional Thursday night comedy roundup. All right, Chris, what do you got for a final take?
Well, I just want to say, Eric, I hope that the Bucks do have an easier path to the Super Bowl, because that just increases their chances of playing us again. So I would love nothing more than to play the Bucks again next year. I hope it happens.
But the biggest thing is, I'm tired of them saying, "Oh, Brady wants this 18-0 or the 20-0 season." I want them to lose week 1. Just week 1.
They're not going to go undefeated.
Yeah, week 1 they play the Cowboys.
I would absolutely
week 1 they play the Cowboys. We'll see what Mike McCarthy has for them.
They are not going undefeated.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
nobody's going undefeated. That's just not how it goes. Chris, what do you got?
So I just found out actually today that Kenny Mayne is going to have his last show on ESPN on May 24th. This was something that kind of hit me because, I grew up watching SportsCenter as a kid and a teenager a lot. And Kenny Mayne was one of the anchors that I got to see a lot, growing up, with Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann and Charlie Steiner and everyone. Linda Cohn, which I think Linda's still on, but yeah, so apparently Kenny is stepping away from ESPN because he's not willing to take a pay cut to essentially do the exact same job. So I can't blame him at all for that. And he also made a point. So where I found this out, if you have a subscription to The Athletic, there's a really good interview that he did with Richard Deitch. Basically, saying that a lot of people who have left ESPN have actually gone to bigger, better things, like Dan Patrick. I guess he also pointed out Trey Wingo and some other former employees. But yeah, that really hit close to me just because, I remember him, I think I remember his first trademark that he used to say was Yahtzee anytime someone hit a home run. And that used to make me laugh. And then, as he got further along in ESPN, he started doing, more like, individual pieces. He had Main Street and things like that. But
Main Event.
Yeah, Main Event. That's right.
Main Event. Yeah, that was great.
He was. I loved his dry sense of humor so much. Mm-hmm. But what's really cool about Kenny is, in 2018, he started a foundation called Run Freely. And this was actually born out of a personal experience he had. So apparently back in 1980, while he was playing football at UNLV, he had an ankle injury that just caused him basically chronic pain for, looks like 17 years. It got to be so much that he had to wear flip-flops going into work because regular shoes would start to wear away his ankle. And he actually came upon this technology called the Intrepid Dynamic Exoskeletal Orthrosis. It's some type of technology that actually, some type of a brace that actually took away this chronic pain that he had been feeling for 17 years. It was just a big revelation to him. So he took this a step forward, and basically his foundation actually makes this technology available for veterans. Where the foundation pretty much covers most, if not all, of the cost, because the training program itself can be more than $10,000. So I think that's a really cool thing that the Run Freely Foundation, founded by Kenny Mayne, does. I think he's a real stand-up guy. I've always found him really funny, and I do think he's going to go on to bigger and better things. But yeah, Kenny Mayne's going to be stepping down after 27 years at ESPN by the end of the month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Heard that last week.
Yeah, huge fan of Kenny Mayne. What's Trey Wingo doing these days?
I was a little surprised by that. I don't know. I have to look that up. But he mentioned Trey Wingo by name when he was talking about other ESPN employees going on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, it kind of seems like it comes into how you leave ESPN. Because I mean, when I think of somebody going to bigger and better things, the first name that honestly comes to mind for me is Skip Bayless. And he went to Fox Sports 1 to get Stephen A. Smith money because he was never going to get it from ESPN. I think that was a little more merit-based than this one is. That sounds very Disney bean counter-ish, the way that you're describing it. But I mean, I remember like Bill Simmons was my favorite guy at ESPN, and they basically locked him out from doing anything significant for a period of time just because of the way that happened. And I was expecting Dan Le Batard to, land quicker, but I'm wondering if he's not.
He mentioned Dan Le Batard as well. So yeah, he goes Dan Patrick, Le Batard, Bill Simmons, Trey Wingo are the four names he threw out there in his interview.
But then again, I guess I have no idea how much money Bill Simmons makes on the Ringer, and he seems to be enjoying himself. But his HBO show I thought was interesting. I really think that one had a puncher's chance if it wasn't on HBO. If you would launch it now with the HBO Max thing that's available, I think that show might have had a slightly different fate. But
when you were saying that cryptic or that word salad of a ankle thing he got, I was totally expecting you to say something like he got the cryptic ankle neurological elixir. Like that just spelled cane. He got a cane.
Yeah, I got a cane.
Oh, yeah. I get it. It's a joke that he would tell. I get it. Okay.
This acronym is IDEO, so unfortunately it doesn't do anything that trendy, but yeah.
But the way that he would have said it is in 1989, Kenny Mayne had
wheelchair. Yeah.
You got to roll around. Made my ankle feel way better. Well, yeah, you're sitting down. Of course it will.
Tylenol.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
Cortisol.
All right, so the last thing I have, I've got to unfortunately take the mood down a little bit. Thing that I noticed here in the past week is Colt Brennan died in rehab at 37. Not sure if you guys remember him, but from a college football standpoint, he was the quarterback of the crazy awesome Hawaii teams that really shook things up in the mid early 2000s. So 2005 to 2007 was when he went. And so his senior year, 2007, they went 12-0 in the regular season. They played in the Sugar Bowl, which I think that was the BCS era. So they were the mid-major, if you will, that crashed the party and made their way in because they're in the Mountain West, I believe, with San Diego State and so forth.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So they went 12-0, and just some of Brennan's stats for that period of time. Over the course of his 3 years, he had 14,000 yards passing, 131 touchdowns over 3 seasons, and he was completing 70% of his throws. And I remember watching him and just being like, man, this guy airs it out. And this was during the period of time where I think our quarterback room was Damon Hewer, Brody Croyle, and Tyler Thigpen. But our defense, I actually looked this team up. So our team at that point, this was a 4-12 Herm Edwards season that we went through while the Hawaii Fighting Warriors were doing that. And so we had Larry Johnson, Dwayne Bowe, Eddie Kennison, Tony Gonzalez as a Pro Bowler that year with our awesome line. And those guys were throwing the ball they were getting the ball thrown at them by Damon Heward. And that was our situation there. And then meanwhile, our defense had Jared Allen, Derek Johnson, Donnie Edwards, Ty Law, Patrick Surtain, Bernard Carmel Pollard, Jared Page, Tom Bahali. And it was just one of those, we had no business going, 4-12 at that period of time. And I remember watching Colt Brennan and being like, man, I don't know if this translates to the NFL, but there's just a dreamer in me that's like, what if Kansas City had a guy that threw like that? What would it look like? We would have been, going back-to-back Super Bowls back then. And, that was a thing that I thought of. And he ended up going in the 6th round, which was probably appropriate, just based on where he was coming out of, to play for what's now called the Washington football team. So he had a couple years there, had some injuries, and he ended up bouncing around the UFL. He played for Hartford. He played for the AFL Arena Football League out in LA, but he had a couple stops in Canada. So never really, got an NFL or pro football career, ever really going. It just didn't work out. But he had some trouble. He originally tried to go to school at Colorado and got thrown out of school. This was back in the day when Colorado, it seems like every every athlete they had was kind of a risk for bad PR, if you will. And so he got thrown out on probably something that shouldn't have necessarily gotten him immediately dismissed, but it was bad enough looking, and it was unclear enough that he ended up getting dismissed from the program. But in his post time, and it seems like through most of his life, he had substance abuse problems, and so the guy was an addict, and so he was in rehab, and they found him unconscious, and he ended up dying a couple of days later. And for anybody that's got a family that has addicts in it, that there's just absolutely nothing you can do but sit there and watch and hope that everything works out the way that it's supposed to. You can't beat somebody's addiction for him. And the quote from his dad was just disappointing, because it seemed like everything was going well until all of a sudden it wasn't. And they found him unconscious, and he ended up dying. But 37 years old, so definitely feel for his family, and hope they're in as good a place as possible, and that Colt's at peace as much as he can be. But it was definitely fun watching him for the few years that he was out in Hawaii. So
All right.
Anyway, so Brian, why don't you tell us a joke so we don't have to end on that note?
I'm just reflecting on the fact that he's 37 and I'm 37. Like, the idea of checking out now, it's like, oh geez, that would be, just a rough one there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. God, don't know. Oh, okay. This is the joke I always tell when someone says, "Tell me a joke." Okay, I got it. Okay, I'll get through it as fast as I can. We've been going for an hour and a half. We're almost there. Let's land this plane. Okay. All right. Young couple. It is a young woman, probably 21, dating in college. This dude, he's younger. Also, he's a religious dude, though. He's really religious, but cool dude, hanging out. A young daughter brings him to meet her parents home for dinner. Okay, so they're all having a family dinner, meeting the boyfriend for the first time, and then it's time for the go away. The husband, the father, and the young man go, into this den. The women go do their thing. They're in there, and the father goes to the young religious boy. He goes, "Hey, so things are getting kind of serious between you and my daughter. So how do you plan on providing for my daughter if you plan this going forward?" He just goes, "God will provide." The father's like, "Okay, that's great and all, but seriously, how are you going to take care of my daughter?" He goes, "God will provide." And the father's like, "Okay, fine." So like 2 hours later, the father and the mother are in the kitchen cleaning up, and the mother goes, "So how did your conversation go with our daughter's new boyfriend?" And he goes, "Oh, great. Apparently he thinks I'm God."
That's great. Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. All right. All right. Well, like Brian said, we've been going at this for an hour and a half. We tackled the big bear of the entire Chiefs schedule. This was a fun one, guys. So to Arrowhead Kingdom, good night, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Chiefs.
Peace.